This is a gift to you, America, the Constitution of the United States. By memory, we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Article 1, Section 1. All legislative powers herein granted should be vested in the Congress of the United States, which will consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. Section 2. The House of Representatives should be composed of members chosen every second year by the people of the several states, and the electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislature. No person should be a representative who shall not have attained to the age of 25 years and been 7 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be inhabitant of a state in which he shall be chosen. Representatives and direct taxes should be apportioned among the several states, which may be included within this union according to their respective numbers, which will be determined by adding to the whole number of free persons, including those bound to service for a term of years, and excluding Indians not taxed, 3/5 of all other persons. The actual enumeration should be made within 3 years after the first meeting of the Congress of the United States, and within every subsequent term of 10 years in such manner as they shall by law direct. The number of representatives shall not exceed 1 for every 30,000, but each state shall have at least 1 representative, and until such enumeration should be made, the state of New Hampshire should be entitled to choose 3, Massachusetts 8, Rhode Island and Providence Plantation 1, Connecticut 5, New York 6, New Jersey 4, Pennsylvania 8, Delaware 1, Maryland 6, Virginia 10, North Carolina 5, South Carolina 5, and Georgia 3. When vacancies happen in the representation of any state in the Senate, the executive thereof shall issue writs of election to fill such vacancies. The House of Representatives shall choose a speaker and other officers and shall have the sole power of impeachment. Section 3. The Senate of the United States should be composed of 2 senators from each state, chosen by the legislature thereof for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. Immediately after they should be assembled in consequence of the first election, there should be divided as equal as may be into 3 classes. The seats of the senator of the first class shall vacate at the expiration of the second year, of the second class at the expiration of the 4th year, and of the third class at the expiration of the 6th year, so that 1/3 may be chosen every second year. And the vacancies happen by resignation or otherwise during the recess of the legislature of any state, the executive thereof may make temporary appointments until the next meeting of the legislature, which will then fill such vacancies. No person should be a senator who shall not have attained to the age of 30 years and been 9 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be inhabitant of state in which he shall be chosen. The vice president should be the president of the Senate, but shall have no vote unless they be equally divided. The Senate shall choose their other officers and also a president pro tempore in the absence of the vice president, or when he shall exercise the office of the president of the United States. The Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. When sitting for that purpose, there should be an oath or affirmation. When the President of the United States is tried, the Chief Justice shall preside, but no person shall be convicted without the concurrence of 2/3 of the members present. Judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to remove from office and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. But the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to law. Section 4. The times, places, and manner for holding elections for senators and representatives should be prescribed in every state by the legislature thereof. But the Congress may at any time by law make or alter such regulations except as to the places of choosing senators. The Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meeting should be on the first Monday in December. Section 5. Each house should be the judge of the elections, returns, and qualifications of its own members, and the majority of each shall constitute a quorum to do business. But a smaller number may adjourn from day to day, and may be authorized to compel the attendance of absent members in such manner and under such penalties as each house may provide. Each house may determine the rules of its proceedings, punish its members for disorderly behavior, and with the concurrence of 2/3 expel a member. Each house shall keep a journal of its proceedings, and from time to time publish the same, excepting such parts as may in the judgment require secrecy, and the yeas and the nays of the members of either house on any question shall, at the desire 1/5 of those present, be entered on the journal. neither house during the session of Congress shall, without the consent of the other, adjourn for more than 3 days, nor to any other place than that in which the two houses shall be sitting. Section 6. The senators and representatives receive a compensation for their services, to be ascertained by law and paid out of the Treasury of the United States. This shall in every case except treason, felony, or breach of the peace be privileged from arrest during their attendance of the session of their respective houses, and then going to or return from the same, and for any speech or debate in either house. This should not be questioned in either place. No senator or representative during the time for which he was elected be appointed to any civil office under the authority of the United States, which shall have been created, or the emoluments whereof shall have been increased in such time. And no person holding any office under the United States should be a member of either house during his continuance in office. Section 7. All bills for raising revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose or concur with amendments as on other bills. Every bill which shall have passed the House of Representatives and the Senate shall, before it becomes a law, be presented to the President of the United States. If he approve it, he shall sign it, but if not, he shall return it, with his objections to that House in which it shall have originated, who shall enter the objections at large on their journal and proceed to reconsider it. If after such reconsideration 2/3 of that House shall agree to pass the bill, it shall be sent together with the objections to the other House, by which it shall likewise be reconsidered. And if approved by 2/3 of that House, it shall become a law. But in all such cases, the votes of both houses will be determined by yeas and nays, and the names of the persons voting for and against the bill should be entered on the journal of each House, respectively. If any bill should not be returned by the President within 10 days, Sundays excepted, after it had been presented to him, the same should become a law in such manner as if he had signed it, unless the Congress by their adjournment permit its return, in which case it should not be a law. Every order, resolution, or vote to which the concurrence of the Senate and House of Representatives may be necessary, except on a question of adjournment, should be presented to the President of the United States, and before the same should take effect should be approved by him, or being disapproved by him should be repassed by 2/3 of the Senate and House of Representatives, according to the rules and limitations prescribed in the case of a bill. Section 8. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts, provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imposts, and excises should be uniform throughout the United States, to borrow money on the credit of the United States, to regulate commerce with the foreign nations and among the several states and with the Indian tribes, to establish a uniform rule of naturalization and uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcy throughout the United States, to coin money, regulate the value thereof and of foreign coins, and fix the standards of weights and measures, to provide for the punishment of counterfeiting the securities and current coin of the United States, to establish post offices and post roads, to promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries, to constitute tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court, to define and punish piracies committed on the high seas and offenses against the law of nations, to declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning the captures on land and water, to raise and support armies. But no appropriation of money to that use should be for longer term than 2 years, to provide and maintain a navy, to make rules for the government and regulation of the land and naval forces, to provide for calling forth the militia, to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions, to provide for organizing, arming, and disciplining the militia, and for governing such part of them as may be employed in the service of the United States, reserving to the states respectively the appointment of the officers and the authority of training the militia according to the discipline prescribed by Congress, to exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such district not exceeding 10 miles square as may by session of particular states in acceptance of Congress become the seat of the government of the United States, to exercise like authority over all such places purchased by the consent of the legislature of the state in which the same shall be, the erection of forts, magazines, arsenals and dockyards, and other needful buildings, to make all laws which would be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers and all of the powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States or in any department or officer thereof. Section 9. The migration or importation of such persons as any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit should not be prohibited prior to the year 1808, but a tax or duty may be imposed on such importation not exceeding $10 for each person. The privilege of writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of invasion or rebellion the public safety may require it. No bill of attainder or ex post facto law should be passed. No competition or other direct tax should be laid unless in proportion to the census or enumeration hereinbefore directed to be taken. No tax or duty shall be laid on articles exported from any state. No preference should be given by any regulation of commerce or revenue to the ports of one state over those of another. No vessels bound to from one state be obliged to enter, clear, or pay duties in another. No money should be drawn from the treasury, but in consequence of appropriation made by law, and a regular statement and account of the receipts and expenditures of all public money should be published from time to time. No title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office of trust or profit under them shall, without the consent of the Congress, accept of any present, emolument, office, or title of any kind whatever from any king, prince, or foreign state. Section 10. No state shall enter into any treaty alliance or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. No state shall, without the consent of the Congress, lay any imposts or duties on imports or exports, except what may be absolutely necessary for executing its inspection laws. And the net produce of all duties and imposts laid by any state on imports or exports should be for the use of the Treasury of the United States. And all such laws should be subject to the revision and control of the Congress. No state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any duty of tonnage, keep troops or ships of war in time of peace, enter into an agreement or compact with another state or with a foreign power, or engage in war, unless actually invaded or in such eminent danger as will not admit of delay.